Ireland's quantum revolution. Most people don't think of Ireland when they hear the word quantum computing. When they imagine the future of advanced technology, they picture vast laboratories in United States, massive industrial complexes in China, or high security research centers in Switzerland or Germany, not Ireland. And yet, something is happening here. Something almost no one noticed. A quiet layer of advanced technology. It's forming beneath everyday life, not in the form of a giant futuristic cities, but inside ordinary buildings, university campuses, and offices parks. You could easily walk past without second thought. Ireland has always been seen as a small country on the edge of Europe, a place known for its history, its culture, its migration stories, and its global connection. Not a place associated with a quantum physics or advanced computing. But that procession is starting to shift slowly, quietly, almost invisible. Ireland is now part of Europeans' emerging quantum and advanced technology network. Not because it dominates the field, but because it is beginning to connect it with it. A node in a much larger system, a place where research, engineering, and industry quietly interacts. If you walk through Dublin or Cork, nothing in the street reveals this story. You see a Gregorian architecture, old stone buildings, cafes, shops, students, traffics, a city that feels grounded in its history, not a futuristic city or city where you associate with quantum computing or such. But behind unmarked doors and inside richer spaces, a very different reality exists. Work is being done on a quantum computing, photonic systems, semiconductors designed, nanoelectronics, and cryogenic technologies. Fields that most people never see directly, yet may shape the future of computing itself. Some of those systems only function at temperatures close to absolute zero, nearly minus 273 degrees Celsius. Colder than deep space. At those extremes, matter behaves in ways that seem almost unnatural. Quantum effects become observable, controllable, useful, and what once belonged only to the theoretical physics is now belonging into engineering. But here is what makes Ireland's story unusual. Almost no one outside specified circles even knows this work exists. Inside Ireland, most people have never heard of companies or institutes involved. Outside Ireland, it is even less visible. Quantum computing has not yet had its public moment like a AI or smartphones. so the entire field remains hidden in plain sight. One of the companies working in this space is Equal One, a small but significant player developing silicon based quantum systems designed for real world computing environments, not a massive experimental machines locked away in some isolated laboratories, but a system intended to eventually integrate into standard data centers. Then there is a Tyndall National Institute, a research center working on a semiconductors, photonics, and nanoelectronics, the fundamental layer of a modern and a future computing. Without this kind of engineering, quantum systems cannot exist at all. Ireland's universities also sits quietly at the center of these ecosystems. University College Dublin, Trinity College Dublin, University College Cork. Most people pass by those institutes without realizing that inside them, advanced research in physics, computing, and material science is taking place every day. Research moves from classroom to the laboratories and sometimes into startups that remains almost completely unknown to the public. There is also a QUBIC, an organization connecting universities and startups and industries. Its role is not to create attention, but to connect that fragmented research into something usable, something real. And companies like Dell Technologies help connect these Irish research ecosystems to the global computing infrastructure across the world. But even then, the full picture remains fragmented because quantum computing is not a single industry in one place. It is scattered. Chips designed in one lab, photonic system developed in another, cryogenic engineering in a specific facilities, software and integration happening somewhere else entirely, and a distributed system of knowledge with no single visible center. And that is part why of a few people know it is even exist. There are no obvious signs of it in the surface, no public landmark announcing it, no visible machines on display, just ordinary buildings containing highly specified work. This is why Ireland's role is so easily overlooked, even though it is a part of a growing European network in advanced computing. Most of it remains invisible, the outside world. Quantum computing itself is still in its early stages, not yet a mass technology, not yet part of a daily life, which means a smaller countries still have a space to matter, not by dominating everything, but by specializing, by contributing key pieces of a much larger system. And this is where Ireland fits in, not as a center of the quantum world, but as one of its quieter supporting structures, a place where research, engineering, and talent integrates inside ordinary looking landscape and buildings. And perhaps the most interesting part of this all is how little of it can actually be seen. You don't notice quantum computing walking through Dublin. You notice rain on stone streets, old buildings, familiar life connecting us it always has. But underneath that surface, another layer exists, hidden in a plant science, a network of research and engineering slowly assembling the building blocks of future technology. So, Ireland's quantum story is not about dominance, it is about presence, subtle, distributed, almost invisible. And the real question is not wherever Ireland will lead quantum computing, but wherever people will eventually realize that part of its foundations were built quietly, right under everyday life, along all of